Opponents say ObamaCare taking shots at the U.S. Supreme Court after today's huge decision in the critical case King versus Burwell. And now Wisconsin Governor and possible presidential candidate Scott Walker joining in, demanding that congressional Republicans redouble their efforts to repeal and replace the law. But the real question, what would he replace it with? Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker joins us. Good evening, sir. And just for starters, how has Obamacare impacted the state of Wisconsin so far?
Well, there's a huge negative. It's anything but the Affordable Care Act. We've seen premiums go up for people all across the state of Wisconsin, both individuals and job creators out there. It's one of the biggest frustrations I hear from folks who say, hey, this is costing me more money. We thought it was supposed to be about being affordable. It's not. It's exactly why we need to have our next president not just be a Republican, but a Republican who can actually fully repeal Obamacare and replace it with something that puts patients and families, not government, back in charge of our health care decisions.
So how would you, if you were president, how do you dismantle something that has become so ingrained in the system? And look, people do like the fact that a lot of people that, before if you had a pre-existing disease, you might not be able to get insurance. So there are a lot of people who like this.
But you know what? That's not exclusive to Obamacare. There are many positive reforms we could have put in place, like some of the things you just mentioned, like greater transparency so that patients actually know about the health care choices they have and the costs that are involved, much like any of us know about if we pull out our cell phone, having transparency of real costs there as well. But it doesn't require Obamacare to do that. And I might add, part of the reason why I'm seriously looking at running for president and hopeful that people who share my beliefs will go to scottwalker.com and join our efforts is because I look at this and say we don't just need to talk about it. We need someone who can fight and win to repeal Obamacare and put patients back in charge again. Okay,
so let's say you are president and you're fighting to do this. I mean, how do you actually dismantle this thing so ingrained, and what do you envision that to be for the average American?
Mm-hmm. Well, what I learned from 4 years ago when I first started as governor, you got to push big, bold reforms early. And so I would work with the next Congress, if I'm in that position, within the first 60 to 100 days. One of the first acts would be to push through a change that would fully repeal Obamacare. And then, like I said, put a plan back in place that allows patients to be in charge of the health care decisions, lets the market drive things, gives consumers full information about the choices they have available, and, yeah, allows them to do things like buy over state lines, some of the other reforms that I think are largely positive. But it does not require the bureaucracy of Obamacare to do that. It's why in day one, when I first took the oath of office as governor back in 2011, I empowered our attorney general to be one of the states to join in that lawsuit. Unfortunately, Chief Justice Roberts bailed him out the first time. Unfortunately, his court has bailed him out again. It's precisely why we not only need a president who's going to repeal Obamacare outright, but also a president who, going forward, is going to make sure that the judicial appointments that are appointed on the Supreme Court and other federal positions are ones based on people who will truly uphold the Constitution and laws duly enacted under them.
You use the term bailout. Are you suggesting that Chief Justice Roberts' decision was not a legal decision but a political decision?
Well, from what I read out there, there's an awful lot of consideration left to the impact. To me, any justice or judicial appointment, much like the ones I make as a governor, should be based on men and women of integrity, people who understand the law, and most importantly, someone who understands that the role of the judiciary is to uphold the Constitution and laws duly enacted underneath it, not worry about the consequences. That's up to the executive and legislative branch. The court should be merely upholding the law under the Constitution. And
so does that mean political?
It went farther than that.
Okay. So you're saying he made a political decision?
I think it was a poor decision, and I think it's one that went beyond the constitutional mandate. I think the bench, the justices on the Supreme Court and other areas on the federal, as well as state and local benches, should not be worried about making the law. They should be worried about upholding the law as it's defined under the Constitution and laws that are duly enacted within that Constitution.
And you might care to weigh in on the new Fox News poll. You are in the top 5, and in the top 5, you're the only one who has not yet announced.
In the end, polls only matter on election day, so whether I'm ahead or behind, we'll stay focused. For us, part of the enthusiasm we hear over the next few weeks is, as we've been in this testing the waters phase, again, we get people all the time coming to scottwalker.com, joining us, encouraging us to get out there, and we're excited about the possibility of helping turn this country around, whether it's on Obamacare, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's even things like this Iran deal. We need not just a Republican, we need a Republican president who's actually going to act and win on these battles, and I think we've shown in Wisconsin Wisconsin, we're able to do that time and time again. And if we were to run for president, we'd do exactly that for America.
And do you have an announcement date, by the way, either way, whether you're going to announce or not announce? Do you have that date?
Well, the week of the 13th is when we will be likely to make our announcement as to what our intentions are.
Governor, thank you. Nice to see you, sir.
Thanks, Greta.